Assalamu alaikum. Just give me an indication that you are hearing me now. Anybody give me an indication? Okay, thank you, Lina. Thank you so much. Okay. Hello, I am Dr. Ayman Dakruri. I am the director of Effat Library and Culture Museum. Welcome to a new library workshop for spring 2023. Today, I'm gonna continue with you a new episode of our library workshops to build into the learning sequence of information literacy you have developed throughout the whole semester. And now it is evaluating information sources or resources. Let me start our today's workshop with this question. Why do you need to evaluate your information? Being able to critically evaluate the information source or resources you are searching for or even see while conducting your research or your presentation is extremely important skill. Do you know why? Because not everything you read is true, and sometimes the information you find is biased, selective, or fake, or sometimes misleading for your research. As such, you will not be able to conduct your research accurately or even answer the research questions you are looking to answer. You may face other problem with your information resources. Sometimes the information may be out of date to be applicable or even useful for your research or presentations. It might be also the authors aren't professional or expert or qualified on what they are writing about. And sometimes the problem isn't the accuracy or the precision of the information itself. It is the lack of details and essence of the information. So there are simple yet critical criteria you can use to evaluate the information you search for or accidentally see. Whether you are getting this information from a book, an article, a website, a conference proceeding, a thesis, and etc. Through our today's workshop, I will introduce you to 5 criteria I highly recommend you to keep in mind while conducting your research or presentation. These 5 criteria are very helpful not only for your assignment, but also for your daily uses. Just like you need the information you use in your research to be credible, reliable, and enough quality, you need also the information you find as product, such as product reviews, health recommendations, and other to be credible, reliable, and enough quality as well. Actually, there are 5 criteria to be aware whenever you evaluate your information sources or resources. You will look at each in details. These 5 criteria are accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage. Let's take the first criterion, accuracy. Let's see, what do we mean by accuracy? If you are not already an expert or professional on a particular topic, it can be difficult to determine or decide whether or not the information in a book or article or a website or even a web page is accurate. Ask yourself these questions while producing or previewing or browsing your information resources or sources. Is the information in the article cited? An article with references or citations is far more likely to be accurate because the information can be verified or doubly checked or peer-reviewed by doing the original sources or by citing to the original sources. If statistics are given, do the authors they say where the statistics come from or not? Another question you gonna ask yourself about while detecting or checking the accuracy is, are there typographical errors, spelling or grammar errors? If so, you will want to be very careful about using that article or that this book as a resource. Bad or non-existent editing usually means that the information in the article or in the book has not been closely reviewed. This is also a very critical issue. Let me show you an example of what do we mean by a citation. Just a second. Let me go back to the uh, Blackboard to show you. Yes, just a second to open the web browser. Yes. I don't know if you can see the library website now. Give me also an indication. Raise your hand if you can see. Thank you, Farah. Yes, this is our Effat Library website, as you can see. Previously, we offered a workshop on Cite What You Write, if you remember. It is supposed also to be one of our sessions on information literacy. I'm jumping in now to show you how we can see the citation or what do we mean by the citation itself. If we are looking for example, if we would like to preview an article on any topic, like Islam, for example. Now it is retrieving the article or the collection we have here as Effat University Library. Let me filter by source type, and let's assume we wanted to filter by academic articles only. And let's assume also we wanted to preview the first article and get the full text of it. Yes. Now it takes you directly to the full text of this article. Just a second again. Yes. I believe you can see now the result page, right? Yes. And now we are getting the access to the full text. Just a second. Yes. Now you can see the full text of this article. I hope so, right? Yes. Here, if you look at the the body itself for the background part, you can see here numbers 1, 2, 4, 3, and so forth. This is what do we mean by citations. Citations mean the source we are depending on while conducting our research. Of course, you can't start your research as your own or from scratch, because we have to build our information on others. Others means the citations or references we are collecting the information from. And we usually refer to these citations by numbers or even by author names and dates and so forth. All of them depend on the citation style we are considering while conducting our research. Again, this is what we mean by citation. 1, 2, 3, 4. If of course all of these numbers are clickable, which means if you click on it, it gives you or it takes you directly to the resource itself, as I'm doing now. Yes, 1. It took me now to the citation or to the main source we are quoting the information from, which is the first reference here. Okay. Okay. Let's go back again to our presentation. Yes. So this was the accuracy, the first criterion we are talking about. Let's move to the second one. The second criterion, which is authority. Yes. Have you ever noticed how products advertisement on a TV end with licensed by the Ministry of Health, or what we call in Arabic بترخيص من وزارة الصحة? Have you ever noticed this? Of course, yes. The rationale behind the law requires this label line, licensed by the Ministry of Health, is pretty simple. If the company advertises this product is not officially accountable for the advertisement it offers, they are more likely to make irresponsible claims. This is very important to highlight this label or this tag to all audience to reflect the accountability or the authority of this product. By attaching the ministry license to the ad, the product is firmly accredited or authorized. Okay? The broader point here is who is accepting responsibility for the quality of the information in a given resource. Sometimes it's a group or even an individual or even also an organization rather than an individual or author who is responsible. Once we know who is responsible for an information source, we can ask, are they an authority on that topic or not? And also, while conducting or checking the authority of any information resource, try to ask yourself these simple questions. What are the author or the organization credentials? Are any credential even given? Is the author qualified to write this document or this article or even this book? Is this book or website written in their area of expertise? Is the author affiliated with an educational institution? Right. Let's go back again to the article I previewed earlier to show what do we mean by these questions. Just a second again, please. Yes. Now we go back to the article we have just shown to you. Regardless of the title itself, if you look at right below the title itself, you can see what do we mean by the authority. The author names here, you can see the author names, all the author names here, and you can also double check the affiliation, the rank of each author here to give you a hint or to help yourself make a right decision about the authoritative data about this piece of information or not. Okay, let's go back. Yes, just a second. It's supposed to give you the information by clicking it, but it is not clickable now. But anyway, while checking the authority data for any article or a book, you can just click the number here to make sure or to see the affiliation and all the authoritative data about each author of these authors, and try to make sure that all data related to these authors are shown to you, highlighting the organizations or the organization's credential and the rank themselves they are qualified to, and also the area of expertise and the educational institution as well. Okay, fine. Let's go back again. Window. Yes. Let's move to the third criterion, the objectivity. When we talk about objectivity, we are really talking about bias. What are the biases of the authors or the organization behind the information? We have to be careful about this terminology. Bias is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it is bad, sometimes it is good. Just because an author or organization has a particular point of view doesn't mean that their information is accurate or lacks authority. The very reason that many groups exist is to forward a particular position or ideology, and they often collect or guarantee a lot of high quality research. That said, you will want to be aware of biases of the authors or groups. And in order to write a well-rounded paper or presentation, you will likely want to collect information from other side of the issue as well. When all your information comes from just one side or one debate, your paper will lack balance and perspective, of course. Also, when you are using websites as resources or sources for your research or paper, pay close attention to the advertising that appears on the site. The purpose of some websites is to sell a particular product, of course. We can see such cases while conducting our research or browsing websites. While they may host articles as well, the articles are basically just ads for the product, right? Also, companies will occasionally run elaborate advertisement on legitimate websites that can look very similar to articles, but are in fact just promotional materials. Don't be fooled and don't use these sites or articles as resources for your papers, please. Let's move to the fourth one, currency. Here also, before moving to the currency, let's back to the objectivity again. And while checking the objectivity of any resource, please try to ask yourself these simple questions also. Is the information fact, opinion, or propaganda? Is the information well researched? Is there a bibliography or citations or references at the end? I'm just show to you what do you mean by citation and the reference list, right? And also another question you can ask yourself while checking the objectivity is the author object and unbiased. Bias is not always bad, as I said, but you will always want to be aware of what the author's bias is. Okay, the currency, the fourth criterion of the 5 criteria we are talking about. to evaluate our information resources. Currently, some research projects require very up-to-date information in order to be accurate and precise. For example, if you are researching for a present or a modern population statistics, you will not want to use, for example, the outdated or data from the last century, for example, right? This is just too old. Yes, when we talk about currency, we are talking about how current the information is in a book, article, a website, a thesis, a conference proceeding, and so forth. For some projects, older resources might be fine. For any thought, currency is a major issue. And while also checking the currency of any information resources, try also to ask yourself these three questions. When was the book, the article, or the website published or produced? You will often find a website publication information at the bottom of the page, right? We usually see such information. And also you can ask yourself, if you are using a website, when was it last updated? Okay, how many did links are on the site? Did links, the unclickable links located in a website or a homepage? It's important to check, of course, because many websites have been created and abandoned in the last 15 years or 10 years, for example. Do you have a question? Okay. And also you can ask yourself this simple question: is the information outdated? It might be current at one time, but is it still current? For some subjects like history or literature, our students from literature, they don't need to adopt or consider only the most updated publications. Sometimes we can refer back to the last century, to the 15th of the last century, to cite some information from, right? For others like technology or even modern architecture, okay, our computer science students, our architecture students also, currency is very critical. How can we control the currency using our Effat Library website? Can you know how? Effat Library website or Effat Digital Library can help you control this issue to adapt only the most updated or most current publication you can see into your result page. How? Let me show you how you can get access to information limited by specific period of time. Just a second. Yes. Yes, I hope you can see the web page now. Our Effat Library research result, right? You can see it now. Give me an indication, please. Anybody raise the hand? Can you see? Perfect, Miral. Thank you so much. How can we control the currency of our results? By retrieving or using our Effat Digital Library and going directly to the all filters from here. You can see now. Now it opens another window. Go back until you see date range. And you can consider only past 12 months, past 5 years, past 10 years, or you can custom your time range from here. Let's say I'm now a computer science student and I'm caring about the most updated publication. This means I have to update the past 12 months or even past 5 years and just apply filters to refine or refresh your results now to show you only the most updated results. This is what we mean by currency while conducting your research. Okay, be careful, please, about all of these concepts while conducting your research or checking your resources. Okay, let me go back again to the presentation. Just a second. Yes. Let's move to the fifth one and the last criterion for our today's workshop. Just a second again. Yes. Average. Really, when we talk about the objectivity, we also talked about bias. While bias is not inherently bad, you don't want your total pool of resources to reflect the same bias, right? Otherwise, you are only getting part of the picture. In part, this is what we mean coverage, or what coverage asks in fact. What part of the picture you are getting with your information resource? Think about the scope of the book, the article, the website, the conference proceedings, the presentation even you are retrieving you wanted to use. Are the authors omitting important aspects of the topic or not? Try to think about these issues. Okay, try to go with the author information, and if you feel a cut in the information or a stop while proceeding with the continuum of the information, please avoid this resource immediately. For example, sometimes also lady authors pursue facts. You might find a website that offer a theory as to why humans use only 10% of their brains. Sounds great, except that the site would be based on urban legend. We actually use 100% of our brains. If the authors wanted to argue against this established scientific fact, they are free to do so, but the website didn't bother to cover that. It is just assumed that part of the argument, not the whole information or the whole argument you are read or you are reading. Again, while checking any one of these criteria, please try to ask yourself the question I just offered to you. With this fifth also criterion, there is another also simple question to be asked or to ask yourself about while checking the coverage. Does the resource add new information or does it simply compile information easily found elsewhere? For example, I occasionally read a science article or a blog where the entries are simply are cut or cut and paste badly from another resource and paste directly to the resource you are reading now. This makes the site absolutely unacceptable for a research, of course. Definitely riddled with plagiarism and liable to be used or sued into a shutdown one day. Another question you can ask yourself about while checking the coverage: does it extensively or minimally cover the topic? Is the information well organized or just a mess? Are the main points clearly presented in a logical order? Is the target audience identified and appropriate for your needs? All of these are very important questions we have to keep in mind while checking the coverage, as well as the other questions to be reminded also while checking any other uh, evaluation criterion. Now, let's move another very important issue before leaving or finalize our today's workshop: the web domains. Web domains is a very important issue because most of us now are depending on online resources. Online resources means we have many misleading information or information for commercial purposes. How we can make sure about the purposes of our online information resources by checking the web domains. Web domains, we mean by web domains like Effat University .edu.sa. This is the domains or the web domain for Effat University website, right? .edu. You have to be careful about such domains while checking any online resource. The domains, is it edu? Okay. Edu, what do you mean by edu? Edu means that this a college or a university website which is eligible for taking the .edu. Edu domains are important and we can generally considered to be more reliable than others found on the other domains. Okay, edu.edu abbreviated, or this is abbreviation for the education. Okay, another domain generally considered to be reliable like edu is .gov from government. The for example, the Saudi government has its governmental website that ends with .gov, of course, and most of governments all over the world have such .gov websites, and they are required by law to make most of it available to the public, of course. If you go back 20 years before, you wanted to access government information, you would have to travel to a library outside your area just to check or to get an information from this government. But this could mean a couple of hours of driving and even more time spent digging through indexes or citation numbers. Nowadays, government documents are regularly made available online easily. Even better, simple databases, interfaces, and Google, of course, can make them easily to search for. All current government information appears on .gov website. So if you find yourself using statistics or information from a .gov website, chances are the material is quite reliable or and credible as well. Another website domains is .org, refers to, of course, to organization. .org domains website hosts non-profit organizations. These sites are generally considered more reliable than commercial websites that ends with .com. We come to it later on, because the website maintainers have no profit-based reason for providing the information they do. But it is worth noting that nearly or anybody can start a non-profit organization. So be sure or to be careful to apply all the 5 criteria we have talked about carefully to .org websites. Finally, the last domain we are talking about today is .com. .com domains websites are for commercial uses only. The vast majority of websites we are see online or while surfing the web, we usually encounter will be .coms. Absolutely anybody can start up a .com site. So the information found on them runs from extremely reliable to utter lies and fabrications. It is essential that you apply the 5 criteria whenever you use the .com website. Some of the most useful websites out there are .coms, so don't be afraid to use them in your research or presentation. Just be very careful only. Okay, just wrap up. Today we talk about 5 criteria if you want to evaluate information resources or sources: accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage. And also we covered the area of web domain while serving or browsing online resources. Do you have any question? Okay, thank you everybody, and see you later on with our library workshops. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.